Hello, Mark speaking.
Hi, Rakesh. Yeah, we just spoke.
Hey, how you doing, Rakesh? Mark, this is
Very,
Mark.
very well. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure how much you're aware of that's been going on with the whole Costco incidents, but I'm pretty sure, like, you've probably seen the videos, like, you're probably aware of the most recent incident that took place. I believe it was July 5th at around 8,
Right.
8:30.
Yes.
Yeah, Expo Boulevard location. So you're already aware of that, right? It's not necessary to go over all that, or...
Well, I'd like to hear your. Sure, you can share with me what happened.
I'll give you. It's better to just watch the videos, I guess, on my TikTok, Rakesh Dutt. Like I put most of the videos up on there, so yeah, that gives you a pretty clear picture of what happened. But yeah, so it's been an ongoing issue for a while now, like going back a year, maybe even more than that. Mostly at this location, the Expo Boulevard location of Costco, but there have been incidents that have happened at the Richmond location as well. And I filed complaints, numerous complaints. Tried escalating. I've been trying to get a hold of like you're the district manager, I believe, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I've been trying to get out. I've been actually trying to escalate. I filed probably like 10 complaints so far about like each time one of these incidents that's taking place where it seemed like employee was profiling, like racial discriminatory type of behavior. I've called into the 1-800 number, filed a complaint. I've talked to the store managers there and stuff, and I've been trying to get in touch with the district manager and stuff. And it's been months now. They keep telling me, someone's gonna call me back, someone's gonna call me back, but I don't know if it's intentional or not. But no, until now, nobody's reached out to me until those videos got out there and got a bunch of views and stuff. So but yeah, this is on that July 5th incident. So me and my mom, we are leaving. We just finished shopping, and I've spoken to the managers there before. One of the managers there was Dan. Like I've spoken to him before. I've explained, like multiple managers, I've explained the situation, right? That I used to, like, we've been members since 2014, I believe, right? And like we used to show the receipt and everything. Initially, they even had the back, even though the backpack checking is pretty much illegal, right? It's a violation of people's rights. Like unless you've got a warrant, unless somebody's been arrested, like retailers are not allowed to check anybody's bag. Like it doesn't matter if it's a membership policy. Like that's just a charter violation, pretty much, right? We're all protected against unreasonable search and seizure. But I didn't know that before. Like when we first started going to Costco, I wasn't aware of all this stuff. So I would even show my backpack initially, and I would show my receipts. But over time, especially like recently, like last since last year, I believe, I've been noticing like a pattern of kind of profiling type of behavior for multiple employees where my even though Costco claims that they check everybody's receipt, right? And technically they do check everybody's receipt, but what I've noticed from our experience and from what I've read online, other people have also stated that they felt discriminated against by Costco employees and stuff. So what I've noticed is like even though technically everyone gets their receipt checked, it's certain people get targeted and have their receipts scrutinized far more than other people. Some people they barely even look at their receipt, even if they've got like a full cart of stuff, right? Overflowing cart. They barely even look at their receipt, and boom, they're free to they're on their way, right? And other people, like myself included, this happened to me multiple times. I'm standing there for like 2-3 minutes, and they're going over every single item in my cart, and like again, for whatever reason, and I believe it's profiling, that my receipt was scrutinized far much more than other people's. People in front of me, they were on their way. They barely got their receipt, and I've got video evidence of this too, of course. And I've been asked by employees. I also have this on video where I was leaving after I didn't even make any purchases, right? I just returned something, and as I was leaving, I believe her name is Kirsten. That's on TikTok too. She actually stopped me and she wanted to search my bag. She actually alerted security and she's like, I just had like a reusable Shoppers Drug Mart bag in my cart. And yeah, she actually wanted to, and I recorded that. I'm like, why would I show you? Why do you want to search my bag? There's other people walking out, you can see in the video, that have purses, they have bags. Nobody else is being stopped. She doesn't target anyone else. She doesn't say to anybody else, I want to search your bag. She's solely focused on me. And again, profiling behavior. So again, this type of stuff has been going on for at least a year now, and there's plenty of other people that have reported similar kind of experiences with some Costco employees. And it's like I just did a Google before talking to you, before like your phone call and stuff. I was doing some research and I did a Google search for Costco discrimination, and like a bunch of articles came up. So apparently this is like a pretty big issue, not just in Canada, like states as well, like all over. There's people filing, human rights complaints, lawsuits claiming that they were discriminated against, employees claiming that they felt discriminated by managers and stuff. Some Muslim woman, like one of the articles I read is a Muslim woman in the States, I believe. She says that her manager was demeaning her because she was wearing a hijab and stuff, and they were trying to force her out. They were discriminating against her. So it's not just shoppers, it's employees too that are feeling discriminated by Costco employees and some of their policies. So yeah, that's basically what I've tried talking. And again, this hasn't led anywhere. I've talked to Scotty, the store manager, and he just tried to downplay the issues. All he kept going on was like, again, it's been a terrible response. If somebody comes to you and says they feel they've been profiled multiple times by multiple employees, I mean, you should, as a Costco employee, as a Costco manager, their response should be to apologize and say, okay, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna do our due diligence. We're gonna find out why this is happening. We're gonna improve the training, whatever is causing this, and we're gonna make sure this doesn't happen. But instead, what most of the managers I've talked to, the store managers and stuff, like most of them have become hostile towards me. They've been getting defensive, pretty much no apology. I mean, they've been trying to gaslight me. They've been trying to deflect and blame me and stuff. And it's just a weird situation. And again, I don't know why. And even I don't know why it's so hard to kind of, like, Costco claims it. I think that it's consumer, customer centric and stuff, but it's been so hard to reach a district manager for some reason. And you guys should be more readily available and accessible, I think, to kind of handle this stuff. Like, it shouldn't have even escalated to this point. Like, somebody should have intervened and done something about this sooner. So I don't know, like, going forward, like, are you gonna do anything about this, or like what's going forward, what's gonna, and also I wanted to mention receipt checks, something I've heard, something every manager I've spoken to has meant, that's policy, right? But policy is not the law. It doesn't matter if it's a membership, it doesn't matter if it's policy. Like, you got, Costco isn't above the law, Costco isn't above human rights. Like, you guys aren't allowed to check backpacks. It doesn't matter if it's part of, like, you can make anything, you can create any policy you want, but it doesn't make you above the law, right? It has to agree with the law, it has to agree with human rights. If it's in contravention of human rights or the law or anything, then it's invalid. It doesn't matter if it's a membership, it doesn't matter if it's part of the policy. And so backpack checking, that's completely illegal. Like, I've looked it up, like, nobody can search your bag unless you give them consent or unless there's been an arrest made or anything like that. And even the receipt checking, it's not enforceable by law. Like, all any retailer can do is request to see your receipt. Like, none of us, once we pay for something, it's our property, right? We don't have to actually prove that we bought something. Like, if Costco wants to accuse me or my mom or anybody of theft, they've actually got to have evidence of that. And if they do have evidence that somebody committed that, then they can call the police and detain someone possibly and all that. But without evidence of a crime, they cannot illegally detain you. They cannot impede your movement. They can't touch your cart. They can't touch your things, which those employees did. And yeah, it's not enforceable by law. Like, it doesn't matter if it's policy, it doesn't matter if it's membership, it is not enforceable by law. So that's what I've been trying to tell these managers and stuff. They're not listening. It's escalated to this point, and I don't know if you're actually going to do anything about this or if this is going to be allowed to continue. But so what are your thoughts on this?
Well, what are you looking for, Rakesh?
Well,
And
basically,
first of all, let me apologize that you feel this way.
uh,
Uh, that's not our intention. We want all our members to be happy and satisfied with their shopping experience.
yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I think you're the first one. I received an apology from one of the female managers there, but I think it was fake because 10 minutes later, she was threatening to falsely call the police on me. So that wasn't much of an apology. You're the first person, all the people I've talked to, you're the first person that seems like a genuine apology. So I appreciate that. But so basically, we want to go to Costco. Like, we spend probably tens of $1,000s at Costco since 2014, since we joined up. like I don't want to be harassed by employees. I want to buy, like we want to buy our things and leave. Like I don't want to. I'm not gonna. It's 2023, right? I'm not gonna allow any employee, whether intentional or not, to profile me, to treat me suspiciously, to treat me like a criminal baselessly. So I'm not going to show my receipt because I don't have to. I'm not legally obligated to show my receipt. Once we buy something, it is our property. It is not the property of the store. If they want to call the police and falsely accuse us, that's their option. But that's basically, we want to have a safe shopping experience. We want to buy our things and we want to leave without being harassed by these employees, without being harassed for our receipts. So that's basically it.
Yeah, I understand. And again, let me apologize for not getting back to you sooner, that you had to wait so long. I appreciate your patience, Rakesh.
Sure.
And, you know, our goal is to treat all our members with respect. And we're a multicultural organization. We're all over the world. We have all kinds of different employees working with us. I just wanted to share that with you as well.
But that's easy to say, right? But actions speak louder than it doesn't. It doesn't matter if they can claim. Every company claims that, right? Those are just corporate talking points. Every corporation says those things, but when you actually look at what's happening, sorry, go ahead.
Rakesh, it is true. Like, we're all over the world. We have many different cultures working for Costco.
Mm-hmm.
So we have different people working at our locations. So let's go back. Let's go to the receipt. I just want to share with you. I understand that you're not happy and you don't like the fact that you're required to show a receipt when you exit the location to a person at the door. However, when you became a Costco member, we are a private membership club. It is a part of the terms and conditions that you need to show your receipt before you exit.
I didn't verbally agree to any of that.
Well, it was a part of the agreement when you signed up for Costco. You actually signed a form.
I don't believe I actually signed anything. We just paid like the $60 and got a card. I'm pretty sure I didn't sign anything. And also, why do they hide this stuff in the fine print, right? Why don't they be more transparent about this stuff? Like, they hide it in the tiny, most people don't even read the fine print, right? They hide it in the tiny fine print.
Rakesh, it's not hidden in tiny print. It's in the same font as everything else. I can send you a copy. I believe Dan Maletti gave you a copy, actually.
Yeah, so again, like I thought you would and so far, like, thanks for the apology and all that, but again, you're pretty much basically doing what the other managers were doing. As I said, we're not legally you can look this up. Like, I can't believe some of this stuff passed through. Like, you guys have a legal department, right? Huge corporation, you guys must have a big legal department. So I'm not sure how the legal department even signed off on this stuff. And there's been, like, Superstore recently, right? They tried doing the whole receipt check thing, but there was huge public backlash and again claims of discrimination and stuff, so they got rid of it. Now they just have a security guard standing by the self checkout exits and stuff. Within a month they got rid of receipt checks because again the big public backlash and all that. And anytime there's receipt checks, it's pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be profiling behavior going on, and it makes companies liable, right? You could land in legal trouble, so it's not even worth. But you're not legally it doesn't matter about the membership. We're not legally obligated to show our receipts. Like, you can't call the police on somebody for not showing their receipt unless you actually have evidence that they committed theft. The police can't arrest somebody and jail somebody for not showing your receipt. There's no legal backing for that at all. It's just the store policy, and store policy doesn't supersede rights and laws, right? So you can add, like, Costco can create a pat down policy like today if they wanted, right? But it's not gonna make it legal. It's not gonna make it enforceable, and it's the same thing with receipt checks. It's not legally enforceable. And, like, why would you, again, like, if I'm coming to you and I'm saying I feel discriminated against, I've had these experiences, like, isn't that more important to you? Isn't it more important to you that a customer feels safe than the whole receipt checking thing? I would think, like, it would be a bigger priority for Costco to hold those employees accountable and try to fix why this is going on instead of focusing on this whole receipt check thing. So I don't know. Again, what are your thoughts?
I just hope you could understand, though, Rakesh, that, you know, Costco is a membership only warehouse store. We're not open to the general public. Membership is restricted to those who agree to the terms and conditions. One of those conditions includes showing a receipt for items you purchase at the exit. And I just want to comment on another condition, is that cameras and recording devices are not permitted in our stores, and I understand that you have been videotaping our employees.
No, so you're just trying to deflect again. You're just.
I'm not deflecting, I'm giving you actual facts.
See, instead of, so what about, you haven't even mentioned, like, the video, all that stuff happened, all that stuff that's happened, are any of those employees going to be held accountable? Like, do you condone that kind of behavior, like illegally detaining us? Illegally detained, do you condone that behavior? Profiling, do you condone profiling behavior?
No, I don't.
Have you seen that videos? Have you seen the videos? What do you call that if you don't call that illegal detainment? If somebody's paid for their things and they're leaving and an employee steps in their path and holds their cart and impedes them from leaving the store, then pushes their cart, which everything they paid for, pushes their cart back into the store and then calls a manager and pretty much falsely accuses them of stealing, like, what do you call that then?
There was no one falsely accusing anyone.
Why then explain what that employee did? If explain in your words, if you saw that video
that you agreed to. They asked you to follow the terms and the conditions that you agreed to when you became a Costco member, which was to show your receipt when you exit, and you refused to. And if you choose not to, that's your choice, and we can refund your membership if you'd like.
So that's your response. So that's you're gonna focus on the receipt checking rather than what the employees actually did, rather than holding anybody accountable, rather than holding Costco employee. You're gonna deflect and you're gonna focus on the whole terms and conditions and all, even though it's not legally enforceable.
We address all things internally, Rakesh, so that the employee incidents, we are dealing with that. But when it comes to showing a receipt and recording in the store, you need to show a receipt before you exit, and you're not to be recording our employees or our customers when you're in our locations. We are a private membership club. We're not Superstore.
And don't you think it's hypocritical that you guys record us, right? There's hundreds of cameras in that. So from the moment you walk in, there's hundreds of cameras following our every move. And you have evidence, right? You want to protect yourself in case like somebody gets violent or somebody tries to steal. You want to have evidence for yourself. But if employees get aggressive towards us or harass us, profile us, you don't want us to have evidence of that. You don't want us to protect ourselves by recording, like we're supposed to. Okay, and one of the managers, a female manager that she wouldn't identify herself, but that video is on TikTok. She falsely threatened to call the police on me, claiming harassment, even though I was outside the Costco and I was having a conversation with somebody, and she approached me and started harassing me. Now, had I not been recording that, I could have been, like, if I didn't have evidence, she was obviously, like, trying to use her, she was a Caucasian woman, right? So apparently she thought, even though I'm filming, that she could use her white privilege to make false accusations against a person of color and the cops would believe her over me. Apparently that was her mindset, because even though I'm filming everything, she's trying to lie and claim I was harassing her. So had I not been recording that, had I not had that evidence and the police came, they could have falsely arrested me and charged me and taken her word for it over mine if I didn't have evidence. So I'm going to protect myself. I don't trust Costco employees, just like you guys obviously don't trust Costco customers. If you want to do receipt checking and you want to have hundreds of cameras and all this stuff, you guys obviously treat customers like criminals suspiciously. You don't trust us. I don't trust the employees. I've been profiled, like I said, multiple times. I don't feel safe. She could have, that employee should be fired. That female manager, I can't believe she's a manager. Like, she's part of the problem. Like, someone like that should not even get to that position. Like, she should be fired for threatening to falsely call the police on a person. That's insane. Do you know how dangerous some police are in this area? Like, do you know how quickly things are gonna escalate? When George Floyd was murdered by the police in Minnesota, like, the CEO of Costco, Craig Jelinek, I think his name is, he made a statement saying, he stands in solidarity with the black community, with the BIPOC community, and yet you've got Caucasian Costco managers falsely threatening to call the police on a person of color, knowing how dangerous a situation like that could turn into. So I'm going to protect myself. You guys can record us, we can record you. There's no double standards. I'm gonna protect myself just like you guys want to protect yourselves. But again, this has been a disappointing conversation because I thought you were going to be better than this. I thought you were actually going to take accountability instead of like the other managers just trying to deflect and bringing up policies which have no legal, they're not legally enforceable. We're not legally obligated to do any of that. But again, you're just following the same script the other managers have. So again, this has been a disappointing conversation. I thought you would be better than that as a district manager, but apparently this is why these problems are happening because no one's being held accountable. Can I talk to your
Sorry.
boss? Like who's your boss?
I'm sorry you feel that way. It sounds like you don't want to be a member of our establishment anymore.
I'm not gonna be bullied out of. I like the store. Like we enjoy the store. Costco's got some great deals. Like I'm not gonna let like a certain like some prejudiced staff like bully us away from the store. So I'm going to continue. If you want to revoke instead of holding your employees accountable, if you want to revoke our membership in retaliation for bringing awareness to this discrimination issue, then you can go ahead and revoke my instead of holding employees accountable, instead of making changes at Costco, go ahead and revoke my membership or our membership in retaliation if you want. But we're gonna continue shopping at Costco, and we're gonna protect ourselves by recording if any of the Costco members if any of the Costco staff try to harass us or profile against us. Like we will not be bullied out of shopping at Costco by some prejudice, by like a segment of prejudiced employees. But again, you're free to revoke our membership in retaliation if you want, but we will continue shopping there.
Okay, we're not going to revoke your membership, and I'm not bullying you. We're asking you to follow our terms and conditions, and we are a private membership club.
I'm asking you to follow human rights, and it just
You have to show your receipt.
I will not show my receipt.
That's part of the terms and conditions.
That doesn't like. You do understand that, right? Like terms and conditions, that doesn't put you above the law. Like you can't just create you can't just create terms and conditions that violate the backpack checking thing. Do you actually, honest question, yes or no? Do you think it's legal for retailers to check a person's backpack or purse or anything, any personal belongings? Yes or no?
I don't think we're not talking about that. We're talking about your receipt being checked at the door.
No, why are you changing the subject? Let's get that's part of that's one of your so-called policies, right? Bag checking. That's still. But do you think it's legal? Like if you were to do a Google search right now, like can retailers check your bag? Do you know what it's gonna tell you? Of course not. We're all protected against unreasonable search and seizure. You cannot. So you've already got one so-called policy that blatantly violates people's rights. And it's the same thing with receipt checking, and that's why you're not giving a straight answer, right? Just answer it, yes or no. Can you check backpacks? Can a retailer check backpacks?
No, we're not supposed to. I don't think we're to check backpacks. I'm talking about checking a receipt and not videoing in the store.
But why is it part of your so-called policy then? That's part of the TOC, right? That's what it says on there. I believe I've seen it that Costco, apparently it says something, I'm paraphrasing here, but apparently it says Costco staff can inspect a person's bag, purse, belongings, reusable bags. I don't know all the things it lists, but that's part of the so-called policies Costco has, and yet it's a blatant violation of the charter and people's rights. So what's your response to that? What's your straight response to that? How do you have something that blatantly violates the charter and people's rights as part of your policy?
I think it says we may ask. That's all it says. But when it comes to the receipt, it says you will be required to show your receipt for the items you have purchased at the warehouse exit. This ensures that our cashiers process the items you purchased correctly and that you have been promptly charged for your purchases. It is also one of our most effective methods of maintaining accuracy in inventory.
It's also one of the most effective ways of profiling people.
We can agree to disagree, right?
Have you done the research? Like, I don't know if you're, again, this is the legal team's job, right? So obviously, I don't know if the legal team at Costco is slacking or any, but have you actually done the research on receipt checking? Do you know that there's actually data on it? There's like a documented history that it's gonna lead to racial profiling. Like other stores, Lowe's, right? Lowe's, I believe so. I've never been to Lowe's. I don't think they even have a Lowe's in Canada, but I was reading an article that Lowe's tried to do receipt checking for a time, right? And within like weeks, they got complaints of racial profiling and just profiling in general, and they actually listened to their customers and they suspended it and they got rid of the receipt checking because apparently their legal team, I guess, they were on the nose. They know that it's gonna lead to trouble and stuff, right? So they actually listened to their customers. They got rid of the receipt. Superstore did the same thing. They actually listened to the public backlash. They got rid of the receipt checks.
Right.
It's not
Right.
necessary. It's 2023, and again, I'm not gonna allow any. I'm proud to be a person of color. I'm proud of my community. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm not gonna allow anybody, Costco employee, anybody in 2023 to treat me baselessly like a criminal, to treat me suspiciously, to scrutinize my receipt for an extra period of time when they don't, to treat me differently than anybody else. Like, I will not allow that. The black community, the people of color, the BIPOC community, we will not allow that. And I don't think you want to, I don't think you want the, like, Costco's got a pretty decent, well, obviously if you actually do the research, then Costco's got a pretty big history of discrimination and this kind of stuff. But most people believe that Costco's got a good reputation and stuff, right? It's like a trusted brand and all that. I don't think you guys want to ruin your reputation. You want to ruin with stuff like this. So we're gonna continue shopping at Costco unless you want to revoke our membership in retaliation for bringing awareness to the discrimination issue. But if we get illegally detained or anybody tries to put their hands on us, any employee tries to put their hands on us, if we don't show our receipt, I will record it for our safety and other things, and I will continue to expose it. And it's just a bad look for Costco. And again, I think you guys, just like the backpack thing, even though again it blatantly violates people's rights, the whole backpack thing, but you guys still have it as part of your policy. Now from what I've noticed, like, they don't typically do it anymore, but certain times, like the Kirsten woman that tried to target me for a bag check, sometimes they still try to target people for bag checks. But for the most part, I guess due to lawsuits and complaints, they pretty much, it's decreased. They don't try to do it as often anymore, and I would suggest they do the same with receipt checks, because again, it's 2020. It's gotta evolve, right? It doesn't matter if it's part of the policy. It doesn't matter if it's part of the membership. It's not legally enforceable, and everything's gotta evolve, right? Apparently you guys used to discriminate. I read an article also that Costco used to try to discriminate against people on income assistance. They used to try to deny. Some guy he wanted a membership and he got denied because he was on income assistance, so he filed a human rights complaint and he was successful at it. This happened in Quebec, I think. And since then, Costco modified their so-called policy to not exclude anyone from their membership. So again, you guys have been called out on some of these policies before and have listened in the past, or been forced to listen because of lawsuits, human rights complaints. So I would suggest that, I don't know, you guys have a meeting on this or something. Just educate your employees that it's not legally enforceable. They cannot detain anyone. All they can do is request to see our receipt. They can't demand it. And I don't want, again, it shouldn't happen again. You should really have a long discussion with the employees at the Expo Boulevard location, because some of those employees seem like the worst. It's also happened at the Richmond location, but not as much. But again, you're not allowed to touch anyone, detain anyone, and it's only a request. Policy doesn't rise to the level of the law. So I don't know, employees like you yourself seem to think that just because something is a policy, that it's somehow made legitimate, like it's somehow legalized. But it's not. Anybody can make any sort of policy, but it doesn't make it legal. It doesn't make it enforceable. But anyways.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree. I just want to make a comment, though. Our terms and conditions have been tested numerous times over the years legally. We've been around for 40 years now, and we still have the same terms and conditions, and people have to show their receipt before they exit. And we're gonna ask you to do the same.
But I'm not going to show my receipt.
Okay.
All right, but again, I would highly, because I've talked to numerous, like I said, I've talked to numerous managers, including Scotty, who did a terrible job, Dan, who did a terrible job in response to this, and it continued happening, and it escalated to the point where they illegally detained us and threatened to falsely call the police on us. So again, I would suggest that you have a long talk with these employees so that stuff like that doesn't happen again. Because again, just like you guys want to record for your protection, we're going to record for our protection. Everybody's got smartphones pretty much. Everyone's got social media these days. Like, it's very easy to expose this kind of behavior now, right? You can put something if a Costco employee does something like that, or anybody, you put it online, it can have thousands, millions of views within a matter of minutes, pretty much, right? So I would definitely suggest having a long, hard talk with some of these employees to make sure they know what they can and cannot do. Like, they don't have any authority to touch anyone, detain anyone. So yeah.
We have talked to our employees, we've talked to our managers about this to make sure that, they're handling it properly.
All
And I just
right.
want to reassure you of that. And I just want to remind you again that part of our terms and conditions is you're going to need to show your receipt when you exit, and you cannot record when you're in our location.
See, how many times have you said that?
You agreed to those terms when you became a member.
How many times? I didn't agree to anything.
You need to decide on whether you want to continue or not.
You need to decide what kind of company you're gonna be. Like going forward, what kind of, are you gonna evolve with the times? Like, this isn't the boomer times anymore. Like, receipt checks might have passed before, but these days we're more educated on rights, laws, and we don't stand for racism. Racism, that's something that's been zero. Like, there's always gonna be some form of racism, but especially today, the climate today, BLM, everything, like, we're in solidarity, we're a big community, like, we're not gonna stand for any kind of racism, profiling, or anything. So you've got to decide what kind of company you want to be going forward. Like, do you condone racism? If you condone receipt checks, then you condone profiling, because receipt checks are going to, there's a history. You can easily look this up. Your legal team can look this up, and I don't know if your legal team's slacking, but like I said, the bank checks, it shouldn't, there's no way that should be included as part of the, there's no way that's legal. There's been human rights complaint lawsuits filed against you guys for that previously. Same thing with the receipt checks. So anyways, decide what kind of company you want to be going forward, because it's not gonna stand. We're not gonna, the BIPOC community, the community as a whole, we're not gonna stand for that kind of behavior these days, and it's gonna be exposed if you guys continue to take part in that behavior.
I think we keep rehashing the same thing. So
Exactly. Anyways, I think so. Anyways, have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for the call.